Okay, I'm about to show the dissection of a forward backup camera, rear backup camera, or trailer assist camera, whatever you want to call it. I've kind of got this one already torn apart, but basically here are the main parts. You've got the back shell or casing. This is where the coax connector comes from the truck. Wiring harness into this. There's a 3-pin connection inside this shielded can, and then there's a circuit board that goes in here that looks like that, and the circuit board makes contact to the outside world through these 3 pins. It goes in there like that. You can see it was all kind of glued or epoxied together. So on the back side, we got some significant electronics: a processor, little power supply, inductors, connectors, a whole bunch of components, resistors, caps, stuff like that. And on the front side, we've got the image sensor and some other passive components, maybe some kind of buffer driver or something on there too. So the way this came apart was basically this goes in there like that, and then the lens assembly sits on top of it like that. So you can see this, it goes in just like that. So the entire package looked more or less like, kind of like, if I can get it back together, put that connector back in there. So it was glued together basically like that. Oh, like this. Okay, like that. So that's how it came apart. There was the lens in the front here consisted of 2 pieces, and I've actually broken both pieces. On the outside was a fisheye lens with an O-ring that went down inside the barrel on the outside. That was like the lens number 1. And inside that, there was another plastic lens. The outside lens was glass. The inside lens, which went right before the camera lens, or I guess a multi-lens kind of arrangement, but it had a plastic lens like that. That part looked okay. It, it's a little bit yellowed plastic, but not bad. And this outside piece, it was also looking pretty clear. I first suspected when I took this apart that it would be a moisture issue, but now I'm pretty sure it's not a moisture issue. On the back of that fisheye lens, there was a back paint, which when you look at it from the outside, it looks white, but it's actually a back paint on that fisheye lens. And then on the inside, what I found was interesting, and I've actually already scraped it off this one, so I apologize for that. I should have left it on, but on this inside lens, there was like a white, like a coating that had maybe failed, but it was a white coating on this inside lens that looked just exactly like fog, which is exactly what you would think you would see when you had a foggy camera. And I actually scratched that off, and it came off pretty cleanly. So it's either some kind of a contaminant on that lens, or maybe it's a coating that was on that lens that failed. But in any event, that was the source of the fog. I'm fairly confident that was the source of the fog on this inside lens. It'd be very difficult for any kind of moisture to get inside there. These holes here, I actually drilled these holes in there, kind of doing my first investigation. And I put a hairdryer. I drilled these little tiny holes, put a hairdryer in there to see if I could dry up any moisture. Made no difference whatsoever. So I finally decided just to go ahead and bust it open and see what's inside. And when I opened it up, I saw this white fuzz on this inside lens, and made me think, hey, that's the source. It looked very cloudy. And if you look on the back of this, lens assembly, it's clear as a bell on the inside lens, and that's exactly what I expected to see that lens look like. But that lens had like a white coating on it. So like I said, I'm fairly convinced that the problem is a problem from Ford, a material problem. It's not a moisture problem. It's not a moisture entry problem. It's a material problem. Something on that lens has failed, or it somehow got some kind of contaminant inside there that eventually fogged over. So not sure which one that is. No sign of moisture anywhere in it. So like I said, I'm pretty confident the problem was with that inside lens, and like I said, it's a Ford problem. It's not a power washed tailgate kind of problem. So anyway, I thought it might be interesting just to show what I discovered when I ripped one of these things apart. It seems to be a pretty common issue that people have these things fail. Unfortunately, I see no reason why the other 4 cameras on the truck won't fail exactly the same way if they use the same kind of a lens assembly. So anyway, thought you might find that interesting.